with Eagle Forum and some of these other groups, they're really waking up here in Alabama with the growth of Islam, and I'm pointing them to your website to resource them. It seems as though this is really growing. And it's at a time, sadly, when we have a president that's playing patty cake with them and cutting deals with them and calling them nice-looking guys. I want the President Trump of 2016, please. Listen to what this guy said just a couple miles down the road at the Memphis Islamic Center.
We spent the last 30, 40 years in this country building 3,000 masjids, 300 Islamic schools, 250 elected officials, $4.3 billion. The next 30 years have to be about investing in leaders and change makers. And it's not just Memphis Islamic Center. It's every one of the 3,000 masjids in America. Our next move, our next priority is to develop as many Mus'ab bin Umairs as possible, because Islam is a solution. Because Islam is a solution. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was sent as a solution to all of mankind's problems.
We have now reached the...
All right, so that is a slogan, some say, of Muslim Brotherhood. Remember, Muslim Brotherhood started in 1928 by Albania in Egypt, and then they went on to start Hamas in 1987, CARE, I think, in 1994, Council of American Islamic Relations. Don't forget about the Grand Mufti of Palestine, Muslim Brotherhood. Folks, history is repeating itself. Sharam?
And if I can point out in that video, let's not forget that Yasser Qadhi was based in Memphis before he moved to East Plano.
Yes, just right down the road from us. And that's why we've been talking about him since 2010.
Exactly. But I want to go back to when we exposed this so-called dialogue, because part of what is holding the church back, I believe. Well, part of it is what you already said, which is that there are not true shepherds. But part of it is that there's also a deception. And the deception is they believe that they can't speak ill of Islam. They confound two things. Look, we can care about the salvation of Muslims, right? I'm a former Muslim. I care about the salvation of Muslims. 2 billion on the planet. We need to reach them with the gospel. Nothing is going to change them like the gospel. However, at the same time, I can walk and chew gum at the same time. At the same time, I can expose the evils of Islam. I can expose their agenda. I can expose what they're doing. And I can expose that they are the greatest threat to Christianity on the planet today. But if you remember James White, when he did that so-called dialogue, a couple of things he said, Brandon. One, he said Islam is not monolithic. So we just heard Yasser Qadhi. Remember, he was doing the dialogue with Yasser Qadhi. Yasser Qadhi, in that video you played earlier in the program today, very clearly said that Islam is monolithic, because he said that they must then impose their law upon all society, right? Didn't that say? He said rule over the land. Yep. So that means it's monolithic. If they must rule over the land, they're going to rule over with one agenda. That's Islam. Okay, number two. Qadhi, in that interfaith dialogue, so-called, it was not a debate, claimed that abrogated verses don't apply. Specifically on Surah chapter 9, that Siraj Wahaj quoted there in the first video, he said abrogated with James White, and James White defended him. Abrogated verses don't apply today. That what that verse was back in chapter 9 of the Quran was for only back then. It was only for 7th century Mecca. It's not for today. Well, now Yasser Qadhi is coming out and saying, no, it actually is for today, because when they are in the minority, when they are in the lower house, they can't do X, Y, Z.
And so let me ask you, for the sake of time, because I want to get one more clip.
Yes.
What percentage of the population do they need to actually make these changes? 5%, 10%? What percent?
According to the Muslim Brotherhood, 8%.
8%.
8%.
And they're doing it fast, folks. Now listen to what Laura Logan says. Why this all matters, in part. Listen to this.
People don't understand. They look at the numbers, like the percentage of the overall population in America. Like, what's the percentage of Muslims in America? It's fairly small, right? So you might look at that in the big sense and say, okay, that's insignificant. But what they're ignoring is that when you have a district that has a sizable Muslim population, if the imam orders them to vote for this person and to make sure they go vote, they all go vote. And so now what's happening, even in Texas, is you have Texas leaders, politicians, who cannot get elected in their district without the Muslim vote. And therefore, they don't want to hear any of this. They don't want to hear any of it. They don't want to watch your movie. They don't want to hear from Chris Burgard or John Guandolo or any of the other people. They want you to go away and be quiet.
There you go. And let me say, in my commentary in the book of Revelation, I was reading it, as you guys know, again, to sign off on volume 3, which is now done. One of the things that those who are condemned, one of the very first groups condemned and sent to hell are cowards. Cowards. They're not sent to hell because they're cowards, but that is the fruit of a non-believer. Cowards. How many cowards do we have today, folks? They're everywhere. And many of your so-called pastors won't say anything because the politicians will call them up and tell them that's extremism. You can't talk like that. If you guys knew how much control your local pastor was under the control of the local city council, you would be shocked. You'd be shocked at how much, whether they have allowed that control or it's been forced, you would be shocked. So Laura Logan is right. Crosstalk coming up next. Stay tuned.
This has been.
And we're back. You want to respond to all that, Sharam?
Yeah, I mean, that was a great clip that you just played with Laura Logan, Brandon. And in fact, we just saw this. Again, going back to Houston area, I just got contacted by somebody who's running for office down there and for county commission. And they said, look, I was invited to this mosque. They kept bugging me. Because I'm a candidate for county commissioner to go to this Islamic this mosque, and they decided finally they're going to go. Well, after the fact, they when they messaged me, they gave me the name of the mosque, and I said, look, this is the Islamic it's the Islamic Society of Greater Houston. I said, that's a Muslim Brotherhood mosque. You just got invited to meet with the Muslim Brotherhood, and the guy was like, that what? He was just shocked. So they are so active and so they have so much ability at that local level that when they have that voting block, when they are voting 75% and up because they're imam, and we saw this with Abdullah Syed, right? Remember last week or 2 weeks ago, you played the clip where we showed the imam saying it is your duty, it is mandatory for you to support Dr. Syed. So when they're clicking at 75, 80% or higher voting turnout in an area, when you go to East Plano, where Yasser Qadi is based now, you see 30% Muslim population. You don't see 8%. You see 30% in that area, or maybe even higher. When you go to Sugar Land, Texas, you see 25, 30%. When you go to other parts of Dallas, you see. When you go to Memphis, Brandon, what is the population in Memphis, in those enclaves around that Islamic center that you just played the clip? That's when they are now showing that they're pretty well in the upper house that I've talked about, that they're now beyond that, because that's an enclave now. And they control the politicians. And then in Texas, then they're running their own politicians, as I said, not only as a Democrat or a Democrat socialist, but in the case of Ali Shakani that you showed the clip earlier, he's running as a Republican because they've now taken over the Republican Party. It is stupidity. It is suicide. And again, to your word, cowardice, I would add also the Judases.
And now we have, look at this, appointment of Muslim judge in teeny Mississippi town brings social media.
Patriot Mobile offers affordable mobile phone plans, smartphones, and broadband.
She got appointed. I really like to know how that happened. Folks, if they can take down Texas and Mississippi, goodbye. Country's gone. If the good old boys in Mississippi allow that state to fall, any state can fall.
Yeah. Brandon, in all this talk, all this talk about this will never happen in these places because there's too many of us that are, gun-toting, whatever. Listen, it's going to be too late, because what did we just say? When they take over the municipalities, when they take over the police department, well, first of all, they take over the mayor. By the way, what was the clip? What did this guy say? He said that we need to have the mayors, right? Isn't that what he said? The guy that you played from Memphis. He said we need to now look at these mayors. So they're taking over the mayoral races, which are easily able to be won. Then the mayors control the police departments. The police departments become their armed forces. So guess what they're going to do? When it's time for you to stand up and say, no, now they're at my door and they're about to come in at our church and attack our churches, and they start attacking Christians or they start attacking those who support Israel. By that point, it's too late because the police department is against you. They're not on your side, they're against you. So all your weapons are not going to do you any good.
You think they're going to use red flag laws before that?
They're going to use, exactly. They're going to use red flag laws, which Republicans support here in Tennessee, right? Our Republican governor supported red flag laws. In fact, had a special session to put red flag laws in. So that's exactly what they're going to do. By that time, they're already going to label us as insane, as dangerous, as whatever. They were doing that under the Obama regime. They will. That I don't think much of that has changed under the Trump administration in Homeland Security and DOJ. Those memorandums, all of the modus operandus of how they operate is still there. We're still the threat. It's the domestic threat that's still the threat. They don't see the Islamic threat as the threat.
Well, apparently we've made somebody upset that we've been talking about James White and Justin Peters, because they say that we accuse them of saying Islam is not a threat, but when you actually listen to them, both read their Twitter posts, they actually do see Islam as a threat. Well, that's not true. We have them point blank saying Islam is not a threat to the church. We have them actually accusing us of Islamophobia on video, Shahram.
Yes, absolutely. James White accuse anybody that fear mongers about Muslims as an Islamophobe. He said that at a conference. And Justin Peters, you played the clip on your show dozens and dozens
and
of
then
times.
They say that John Calvin actually loved the Jews. Where do these people come up with this stuff? Have they read John Calvin?
Exactly.
Folks,
it's ridiculous.
It's amazing the ignorance out there. And these are nice people that mean well, but ignorance is dangerous, And this is why we're here. Folks, don't be led by personality and emotion. Be led by truth. Go do your own homework. Don't listen to what people have told you. Don't listen to what we've told you. Go verify what we have said. Go do your own homework. There's so many people being deceived. But all I can say is if the Lord doesn't return soon, God help us, because what we're seeing in other countries, it's coming to America. Closing comment, Shahram?
Brandon, I agree with you 100%. It's already here. Right. It's already here. And again, you said it, it's judgment. It is the judgment of God upon this land. You have a foreign God, a foreign enemy that has come in. And the only solution remains with the bride of Christ. We have to wake up. Ministries like Worldview Tube are so important to wake the body of Christ up. I just pray that it's not too late for some of these places in the country. So we'll see what happens. But thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. That's Shahram Hadian. Thank you, guys. TILministry.com, TILministry.com. Take care.